Next up on the Night Show podcast, Kevan Shelton. Stand by for greatness. Night Show.
Stars and comments in my room, like the darkness in the womb, like a mansion on the moon. Like a mansion on the moon. Like a mansion on the moon.
2 in 1 day. This is new for me.
You're doing a lot of work being in Houston.
I'm trying to, doing as much as I can while I'm on vacation. Yeah, man. But thank you for sitting down with me and inviting me to your house and agreeing to record. I guess kind of to start off is kind of introduce yourself, tell folks who you are, what you do.
Okay. I'm Kevan Shelton. I am a active Houstonian real estate developer.
I like it. I like that. Active Houstonian.
Father, husband, person of the world. In general.
I like that last one. I like that. My dad likes to say that. It's like he never wanted me to stay in Southern Maryland because and a lot of folks don't understand if they haven't left where they're from, whatever. But Southern Maryland is very much just like most parts in the South. Very small town, cliquish. Everybody kind of just stays in their lane and does the same thing over and over, which is cool.
Lives.
This is cool, but I mean, it's not something I want to do. I want to keep traveling and seeing the world and eventually become a citizen of the world. And
you're a citizen of the world regardless of if you travel or not.
Yeah, I know, right? You know, I joke with my friends all the time. I'm like, you're in space right now, whether or not you realize it.
Yep.
There's no, like, go to outer space. You mean outside of the ozone layer? Like, what you mean?
Like, we're somewhere out there.
Yeah, right?
Like, whether you want to be or not.
So at what point aren't you in space?
There
Please let me know.
I don't know where you're going if you think you're not in space.
Exactly. And that's the game of definitions.
True.
Yeah. And to kind of go into that, to be an active Houstonian, as a descriptor, you define yourself as that. What does that mean to you?
So, when I was younger, I used to really kind of profess things or whatever, but one of the things that was really big to me is the impact that I want to have on the city.
Right.
So, this is my city, and I want to be a part of building the future of the city. I have a fundamental belief that everything that exists right now will fall. Right. And not fall in like a negative way, but just time, right? Yeah. Like nobody beats time. So like you see an old house, that old house won't stay like that. It'll either be demolished, renovated, or whatever, but it will fall. Right. The constructs that kind of guard the world or guard the city, just to make it small, make it micro, they all will fall. Even like, people worried about racism, people worried about whatever, all things eventually fall because nobody beats time. Yeah. So our generation is in the position now where somebody has to be at the gate when things fall to take over and lead. Right. And you can choose to sit and complain about it or be a participant. Right. And for me, being an active Houstonian means that I'm actively thinking about and working towards the future of the city as well as the now. So how can I be a part of what the city's doing right now? And how can I prepare myself to lead what happens in the future? Because I'll be here and a lot of people that are leading the city right now won't be. Right.
Yeah. No, I feel that. Being an active participant in the present so that when the future comes, whatever that means, it makes sense that you, because of the work you've done now in 2018, that in 2028, 2038, that is like, oh, well, yeah, of course Kevin's going to take the lead on this. Of course he's going to like take this role as this person doing this because he's done the footwork and, he's built this legacy.
And the cool part about it is there's nothing, I'm not going to say there's nothing, but the stuff people are doing now isn't bad stuff. Right. Like all the work that has come before. And I'm a big believer in just like ancestry and that you stand on the shoulders of your ancestors and all those who came before you. So
1,000%.
there's a duty there to honor, the past, but also bring it forward.
Right.
Because the world is changing. I mean, the world is actively changing.
Right.
Side note, just a different lane, but there's a really big kind of conversation in commercial construction, because I build commercial as well as we have a company doing residential construction. But what happens to retail, right? What happens to all these malls? America is littered with malls.
Yeah.
Like there's towns where like maybe the economic base left,
Right.
and they're huge empty shells.
Yeah.
And they're such unique structures that they can't just be like
Right.
a Walmart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
You see that in some towns where it's there used to be like a military base,
Yeah.
and then the military base shuts down for whatever reason, funding or
and the money's gone.
the money's
people
gone.
are gone.
Exactly.
And I mean, I've been to some like small towns in Louisiana, or whatever, where like you'll see a huge abandoned mall, like with nothing. And what happens with that?
Right.
So simultaneously, there's like people converting them into like micro apartments.
Oh wow.
And I can show you pictures on my phone. Probably won't translate on the computer, but
We can put some, like, if you send me a link, I can put it in the descriptions, and then folks can look at it on the YouTube page.
there's I'll show you. So like, look at that.
Oh wow.
See, imagine that.
Yeah.
That can be its own
Yeah.
neighborhood development, like whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
For the folks listening, it basically looks like just think of it like a 2-story mall, and instead of there being a Foot Locker and a Forever 21, it's more of like a boutique, very niche. It
It's
almost
just like
looks kind
endless doors, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like little pods. So
Yeah.
people would become apartments.
Right.
Right? And that's a way to use the space, because traditional retail is dying.
Yeah.
So you got to do something. But that's just an example of the old dying. And,
Right.
you have to figure something to do with that. It doesn't mean destroy it.
Yeah.
You just repurpose it.
Right. Industries change all the time. I mean, it's not like there's a horse and buggy industry anymore.
There we go.
Trains used
But
to be
we still got horses, and
we
we still
still
got
have-
buggies.
yeah, exactly.
They're just not put together
Yeah,
and used in that way.
Exactly. So I mean, I think for the industries that are taking their last, gasp, as you see like Amazon now, like you said, malls are kind of a way of the past as far as shopping goes. I mean, Amazon is too convenient.
And I mean, there'll still be some version of that, because like
course.
you're still gonna try on pants, right?
Right, exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
I can't fucking order jeans off of Amazon because I'm 6'4". That don't work for me.
Unless you know the brand, the size,
Dude, I
and
can
the
show
number.
you two pairs 645 Levi's, exactly the same. One fits, one don't fit.
Oh, the deception.
I would have to try on the damn jeans.
That's the saddest. That's tall people problems. I hear you on
Tall
that one,
people
man.
problems.
Tall
You
people
understand.
problems. Oh,
Hey,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's tall people problems. It's like finding shoes. It's like, I'm a 14, but I'm a 14 wide.
Oh,
So
man.
like some shoes work.
That wide be getting us.
I tell you, it's some bullshit, because I see beautiful shoes that just only come up to like size 12. Like Aldo, like throw the whole store away, because you can't do shit with the store. It just doesn't make sense.
We like your product, but your product doesn't like us.
Doesn't like us,
We need
man.
some 14 wides, please.
And like, oh, you can order online. I'm not ordering these cheap ass shoes online, so I could get them and they don't fit, and I paid $90 for some shit that
And
I
they
can't.
look stylish. You want to wear them, but
Nah,
they
bro.
just don't fit.
Say that for the little, little short 5-foot brothers out there rocking all the best clothes.
Right? Oh man, the suits that they
Sample
can just
size brothers out there.
sample.
That's like a real thing.
It truly is. It's. I have a buddy who's he's in the Navy, and he was dying to be a submariner. He just wanted to be a submariner. He wanted to be on the submarines. He fought for it when he was at the academy. He got it. Mind you, he's 6'7".
Oh shit!
Right? Played for the basketball team at the academy.
Can
and
you
he boxed.
stand up in a fucking submarine?
No.
Six-
Like, he's out now, but I'm like, he's like, yeah, man, I'm going to physical therapy constantly because of my back. And when I was,
So now you got lifetime problems because you really want to be on the
I
submarine?
mean, he was trying to live his best life,
Cut your feet off. Cut your shins off.
Your shins off.
Cut your shins in half.
That's a lot, school. That's a lot.
Hey, You know, give your shins to a shorter nigga that want to be tall.
It's like, I'm just trying to be 5'10", 5'7". Just give me 3 inch dog.
You got it. Somebody out there want to dunk. You want to be in the submarine,
Right? Oh my
trade places.
gosh, no, I'll take every inch I'm keeping.
How tall are you?
Like 6'5".
Oh yeah. You good. See, it's like regular height. You're not weird height. Like past 6'7", you're like,
It's like, okay,
you know, unnecessarily tall.
unnecessary tall. Like, and then it's like people really start looking at you like, okay, what team do you play
No,
for?
the crazy part is our great grandfather. So our grandfather wasn't tall, but our great grandfather was so tall that he had to have a special built coffin.
Oh wow!
So like
tall people.
he was like
problems.
7 something or whatever. So like it was elongated. Like it was weird.
Wow.
But he was that tall. But everybody in our family, like of all my brothers, I'm fractionally taller, like a fifth of an inch or some shit. But really, the height came from him.
That's crazy.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, that being that tall, you start seeing a lot more health issues. You start having more inconveniences in your life, and that's just oof.
No, it's crazy because I eat a lot of cooked tomatoes because tall African American men have the highest rate of prostate cancer.
Awesome.
Tall African American men across the world have the highest rate of prostate cancer. Well, one of the things that helps prevent it is cooked tomatoes.
Okay, gotta write that down.
Cooked tomatoes.
All right,
there you go.
Yeah, done. So pizza?
No, I don't think processed food
You're
helps
a dream
you.
killer.
Just in general. I don't, take the sauce, just pour it down your mouth.
Okay, I'll make some homemade pizzas then if that makes you feel better.
That maybe. I
Maybe.
mean, anything
We'll see.
that's less processed.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Cheese is supposed to be not bad, but it's, you know, like you go to fucking Pizza Hut, whatever they put in that, it's not good for you.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's something I should be putting in my body regularly.
Yeah, no, it's that whole, you know, if it's got more than 3 or 4 ingredients or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean that's one of the top 5 foods that
Now, mind you,
Americans
I
eat.
love pizza.
Oh yeah,
Like I used to order pizza every Friday, but I want to be here in 10 years.
Exactly. For you to make the future of Houston a brighter one,
There we go.
you got to be here.
I
That
can't
means less pizza.
but I will buy a Domino's franchise or a Pizza Hut franchise.
See, there you go. So you can just walk in and just.
No. Just give me the P&L statement. I don't want to visit the business because I like pizza too much. I can't be a part
I
of
can't
it.
putting yourself out of business. Like you can't buy your own supply. You can't use your own supply, man. It's like,
No, it's like a recovering crackhead owning a crack house. It's like, I don't know if that's a profitable business for me to be in. I would go monitor the crack, crack usage. That doesn't
just
help.
taking a sample just to make sure everything's okay.
Just want to make sure the quality of my product hit in the street.
It's got my name on it out here. I want y'all.
I make sure I'm represented properly. Down the drain we go. Pookie visiting the Carter, like
It's like, how you the manager? You the manager?
Pookie the landlord. There you go. But no.
So, I mean, what got you on this real estate kick? Like, how did you get involved in it? I mean, what?
So the crazy thing is, in our family's landscapes for over like 80 years, and when I was a kid, I knew very, very strongly I didn't want to be a landscaper. Like I told my dad when I was 12, I ain't gonna be out here. And
Houston is hot.
it's not even the heat because I like being outside. It was the treatment. Like the crazy part is you'd see like 3-year-old white children call your 50-something-year-old dad by his first name. Like, hey, Robert, you missed a spot. Like, go pick up those leaves. And even this shit happens now. Like, my father still landscapes now. And it just rubs me the wrong way.
I understand.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be out here with that. I can't really deal with that. But
I get you.
I knew I wanted to be somewhat like involved with my hands, right? And he used to take me in. They used to build, they still build these big mansions in River Oaks because my family always landscaped in River Oaks. And he'd take me in the houses and he'd be like, this is what these white boys build. And it was like the biggest thing. Like, it was like, if you want to live a life, this is what living is like or whatever. And And
It's like the lifestyles of the rich and famous when they used to come on back in the day.
and for me, it was way more primal than that. It wasn't even that or what the cost was, right? It was just the artistry and the beauty of building something. Like my father likes to plant flowers because he likes the instant beauty, and I feel the same way about construction.
Okay.
And even when I built homes and I worked for a big home builder, I never could see myself doing it for myself because I couldn't figure out the finance part of that. I was like, how do these people finance this? How does this work? Outside of just working for somebody or whatever, right? And as I grew up and I learned more, and I used to work for like a medium-sized construction company, and I'd come in every morning. I was the youngest guy, only black guy, youngest guy in construction period. So every morning when I come to work, the owner of the company would sit me down and he would like talk to me, and he'd be like, tell me how he made millions, because he started off as like a painter and built a really like $40 million a year. And he'd be like, you never sell a house. And I was like, well, what does that mean? So he'd say, he'd buy a house and he'd pay it off.
Okay.
And then when he wanted to move, he would be the bank. So he would sell it to another family, but they would pay him instead of paying the bank.
Wow.
So he's like, you never sell a house, because if that person don't pay, you foreclose on them and get the house back, you resell it or whatever. But he was really big on kind of in the end owning the process, but understanding the impact of building wealth is in property, right? Like even the building that we operated out of, he leased to the construction company. So the construction company made $40 million a year.
Yeah.
He took a $12,000 a year salary, and that's because they made him. Like the IRS literally was like, you can't own this company and not take a salary.
Right.
But he would take dividends, and then also he was the company's landlord. And when the company needed a loan, he would lend them money. He was his own kind of self-financing. So that was super dope. And then my dad always used to say, and I honestly hate I reference my father so much, but
we all do it, right? We all do it.
he used to say they don't make any more land. And you realize that this country was built on land ownership. And it's one of the things that the government actively helps you be a landowner.
Yeah.
Like everything's built for that purpose.
Right.
Like the tax loopholes, the code, even Donald Trump or whatever, it's because he owns property that he gets the benefits.
Right.
And then I like the aspect of you build a home and a family makes their life in it. You raise your kids, you notch their heights out on the wall or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's so many cool things that go into the actual art of like building a house. It means so much more. Like that house you always go back to for your family, or, you know, even back to like castles and shit when,
Right.
like look at Prince Harry and whatever's wedding. They've owned that property for generations and generations.
Yeah.
Property's worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
But they own like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's super dope. The legacy in it is dope. And my goal is my grandfather built a house with his bare hands in Hallettsville, Texas, where our family's from. And my step grandmother sold it because she got sick or whatever. My goal is to buy it back because it's the only house that he physically built himself. And then relocate it to, I want to have like a 40, 50 acre ranch.
Oh, man.
So that's my goal for 35.
Yeah. And definitely in Texas, that's something that's definitely doable. Yeah.
One of my professors at UH had like a 1,500 acre ranch. He was like an executive for Coke and Pepsi or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And like he just kept acquiring. And it's super dope.
Yeah, I think that's something that younger generations are coming a lot more hip to and understanding more is having different routes of income, like having different avenues of income coming in at once. And I remember I was reading something somewhere, you need at least six incomes and like with the job that you had with with that boss at that construction company, I think mentoring or at least having somebody who you can have as a sounding board or somebody who you can actually get some notes from, as to like how to play this game.
Yeah. I mean, that's super, super important, right? Like, and that's one of the reasons why one of the foundational principles of our company, K&A, which is me and my wife's company, is free education. Because everybody who's taught us along the way, everything that we've learned with real estate or with, finance, they haven't charged. It's been very few people, and unfortunately, the majority of them that we have encountered were Black that were like, no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can't tell you these secrets.
Right. Right.
They'll get out and everybody, whatever.
Right.
People who have an abundance mentality, people who actually have means and stuff,
Yeah.
they've been, why to show you the numbers, tell you exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way as far as paying it forward. So, like, we just had a big event where all we were doing was telling people why they need to be involved in real estate now. And here's several strategies.
All right.
Like, even, for instance, we have a guest room downstairs in our house. We Airbnb the guest room, which it's not a huge amount of money, but if it's $500 a month, that's $500 a month off your mortgage.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's, if, somebody, like a lady's checking in tomorrow, she's paying $150 for the week. Well, that $150 can get the house cleaned. That $150 can, do whatever, but it's a stream of income. And everybody needs their own piece of something.
Yeah.
Right? Because the world's not going to give it to you. We don't live in the land of pensions anymore. Nobody's coming to save you. So once you realize that, you got to save yourself. And you got to make a plan. And the cool part about it is, a friend of mine was telling me about how, like, the economy was going to shit. And he was like, you really need to put your money in gold because cash is, whatever. I said, in Bitcoin and all this other BS, and no offense to Bitcoin or whatever, but he was like, everything's falling and China's taking over and you need to buy gold, silver, bullions or whatever the fuck. I said, I don't give a fuck what the currency is.
Right.
People gonna pay rent.
Exactly, right.
In whatever currency it is. I was like, people gotta have a place to live.
Exactly.
If you got 2 kids and you got a fucking job, you gonna pay your rent. And your rent's gonna be paid to me in whatever currency you need it to be. So the reality of the situation is, as long as there's people need shelter.
Right.
So as long as we're providing affordable housing, and I fundamentally believe that there has to be an avenue for home ownership or just having a nice house or a nice life for people who may not have gone to college or may not have whatever. Like, there's somebody working hard out there that's a good person and needs a good place to live. And that's where our target market is to provide. Like, we ain't slumlords. I'm not like a voucher king or whatever.
Yeah, I'm staying at one of your properties right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is nice. I'm living in California right now, and I'm just like, I was like, I wish I could have that property as a rental. Or then, and then eventually what I'm trying to do as well, like I have a property right now that I'm managing, and I'm just trying to like acquire more assets, acquire more rental properties, and get that income coming in that way. But it's what you're doing. I like what you're doing. I see the results, and I'm just like, oh, this works.
Yeah, I was listening to Grant Cardone or whatever he was talking about. I was like, maybe I should Airbnb our house and we should go rent a house and then buy another house with like apartments in it, which is our goal, to buy a house or build a house with apartments in the back. Because ultimately, it's not even about like your job or whatever. It's about lowering your economic footprint on the world. So let's say you live in a 4-plex and the 3 tenants pay the mortgage.
Right.
You live for free.
Yeah.
It zeroes out your housing costs, which is like a third of people's expense.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like right now, Airbnb being that one room pays 1/4 of our mortgage, which isn't a big deal, but
that's
times that,
yeah.
Like add the compound fact to that. And it's those type of things that just help lower your economic footprint to give you more freedom. And I think the biggest thing for millennials is everybody's talking about free and, 4-hour work week and no work or whatever. But it's about having a mindset of freeing yourself from the limitations of your current circumstance, right? Like you got a bill, you got to figure out a way to pay the bill.
All right.
Now, as long as you can figure it out legally, it works.
Yeah.
Whether that's selling, a girl that we went to summer camp with, or not summer camp, it was like a community thing, but she has a huge boutique in LA. She lives in LA now. Mm-hmm. But she built a big business. I mean, all online.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And we live in the best time for that ever. Right? Like, the only limitation is you.
Yeah.
Even the constructs, and everybody like, oh, the man and whatever. And the man might be holding you down in Detroit, Michigan right now.
Right.
Get on a fucking plane.
Yeah.
Get on a bus. Get on a train. Like, change your circumstance to change your outcome. Mm-hmm. That's like the biggest thing that anybody can do, because there's no limitation on you changing yourself or changing your location or changing some fact that can help you.
Yeah.
Like, can't nobody hold you down if you ain't there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're this amazing painter or amazing songwriter and you have all this talent and this, that, and the other, but you live in like some small little town with 1,200 population in, in middle America or somewhere off in like Maine or somewhere like distant, it's like, well, you're going to have to go to LA or go to Atlanta or go to Houston,
go somewhere.
Or go somewhere where it makes sense for somebody to find you, listen to your music, and being like, oh, why haven't we already given this person that?
I mean, look at all the cool stuff Ryan Leslie's doing with a very small group of people. Look at all the cool stuff a lot of these young artists are doing with very small followings. Like, the cool thing about technology is it makes the world flat.
Right.
So it takes the bar of, the barrier of entry of location, right?
Yeah.
So you could be my fan in New Zealand.
Exactly.
And it takes all the barriers for like access. Like, you got a camera right now.
Right.
And you can make a podcast.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that 40 years ago.
No.
Like, the airwaves were controlled.
Exactly.
The internet's not controlled yet, at least. But right now,
it's real estate.
Exactly. You got access.
Yeah.
That's the amazing part about it. So there's no excuses. And, for a long time, and being an artist myself, for many years, I used to have the argument with some of my other artist cousins about like the whole starving artist thing. You got to be a starving artist to make it or whatever.
You got to live out your car at some point. I think that's it.
And I just think that's complete bullshit. Now, if you live out your car, you live out your car. But you can have a job.
No, yeah.
And pursue your dreams.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Like, I'm actively building a company and actively working a full-time job and actively a full-time father and a husband. Mm-hmm. And, I don't fucking blow my brains out. So
yeah,
you can do it. It's very possible. There's plenty of examples of people doing it.
Yeah.
Now, you might not be able to watch all season of Scandal. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Maybe you don't get to see the Cardinals game on Thursday night. Maybe you got a DVR or something.
And I was talking to Evan about this, and I was like, it's really about, it's a bargain with yourself, and it's a transaction. Everything you do is a transaction of energy. Now, either you're going to give this energy to, if he wants to start a sports broadcast, what he wants to do is like do a sports podcast. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you want to really give your energy to something that's going to birth something and can eventually provide you a return, you're going to have to give your energy to it right now. Because a year ago, I didn't have any of this. Yeah. I didn't have a camera. I didn't have a mic. I didn't have any of this. But that required me to, thankfully at the time, I was living in like a 3-bedroom condo downtown Long Beach, and our landlord was not paying his bills like he's supposed to, so we had to vacate the premises.
Oh, damn.
So at that point, I was like, all right, well, I want to save money. It's like, that's going to require me to move to the east side of Long Beach, and I was not living in the best part of town. But with that, I had all this extra money or energy, because I sell my time to my work in order to get to do the stuff I want to do. It's like, I have to now invest in myself so that I can make it make sense in 5 years from now or 2 years from now, when somebody's having a conversation and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, Steve has a podcast, and that gets to somebody's ear and they're like, oh, what have you been doing? I have to show them the body of work.
Yeah. Here's a really cool piece of advice that the owner of the construction company gave me. His name is Bill Trevino, by the way. So consistency, right? Mm-hmm. He was like, his company's been around 40 years now.
Right.
But he said, how did I get from day one to 37 years at that point? He's like, I got up every day and I showed up for work.
Yeah.
When it was hard, I showed up for work. When we almost went bankrupt, I showed up for work. When people didn't do what the hell they needed to do and the job wasn't getting finished and I had to put back on my tools and finish the job, I showed up for work. But every single day I showed up. And I think one of the problems with our generation is people are systemically afraid of being accountable to show up for themselves.
Yeah.
People don't want to come to them, they don't want to be present. That's why drugs are so rampant. And that's why like people just ain't trying to really be about the business of living.
Yeah.
They just kind of want to check out.
Yeah. And existing and being an active participant in your own life is definitely at some point it's a choice. Mm-hmm. Like it's all a choice. And people are making poor transactions with their time and their energy every day. Like it doesn't matter. Like I'm on vacation right now. Like I already work 60 plus hours, 80 plus hours a week sometimes, depending on what we're doing. But when I get home, it's this.
Yeah.
And when you're tired and you got a little kid, like she was sick today, like that doesn't stop you from working.
No.
It doesn't stop you
as
from
much
working.
as I want.
No,
They got you sleep right now. Have you ever heard the story of Franklin Lloyd Wright? So Franklin Lloyd Wright, huge architect, American architect, has some of the most memorable structures.
Yeah.
Well, he had a full-time, like, regular job. And he would go to work, come home. He had, like, 3 kids. He'd put his kids to sleep. He'd do whatever. And then he would work all night on his own shit. Like, then he became the icon.
Yeah.
But that wasn't until much later.
Right.
While he was clocking in,
right,
he wasn't Franklin Lloyd Wright. He was, Franklin Lloyd, employee at such and such architecture
Exactly.
But, he knew he wanted his own thing and created a whole different style of architecture on his own time. Like, that's dedication. And that's really, if you want to change your life, that's what you have to have. Because there's the same dedication that I put to either educating people to change their lives or doing things in a positive way. Mm-hmm. There's folks out here equally as dedicated in a negative way. There's folks out here that are my age, my talent base, actively trying to control other people. Right? Like it's truly like some Matrix shit. I'm quite sure there's a Steve and Kevin somewhere doing something similar. In a negative, like there's some tiki torch white folks or whatever going, hey, how are we gonna keep these folks down for another 30 years? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's all negative and positive forces. It all exists.
Right.
So everybody in the middle, people who get crushed. There's the people who are trying to do their own thing. And working hard at it. And the people who are trying to control other people who may have more resources, probably do. Mm-hmm. Right? Like they got the, super duper camera.
Exactly. They got the freaking
and they in a
RE
mansion and when they put their shit out, it's broadcast to the world. So you have to pick your poison. It's like I was telling Jeremy this morning. Mm-hmm. You choose what kind of life you want to have, and you get the product of your choice. Right? Like, dealing with your baby or, living your life, going to work, being on time or finishing. That's a choice. And you get the product of that, good or bad.
There's too many people, I think they pawn off their dreams onto other people. They expect too much out of other people or they're waiting for something to come down and just make this path that's rough, smooth. They're
waiting on the savior.
And it's not that person's not coming. That thing is not coming.
So, and I'm a nerd, so
I'm with you.
Harry Potter trivia.
Okay.
You remember when Harry Potter was waiting on? He thought it was like his dad or whatever it was. I forget, it was like the 5th book or whatever. Mm-hmm. And guy was saving him from all the Dementors on the other side of the lake. Mm-hmm. And he realized at the end of the book that it was him who saved himself. people got to save themselves.
Yeah.
Because ain't nobody coming, B. Like, literally, ain't nobody coming. So you either put your fucking pants on and go to work and be about the business of changing your life.
Yep.
Or, you know,
and
you get what comes.
And it's either, you know, you either dictate.
I'm gonna grab some water.
Okay. It's either, you know, you dictate your own future, or people are going to dictate your worth, the height, the altitude of your success. Because these roles already exist. No, I'm good. These roles already exist. You can work at X company for 40 years and you'll cap out at being a junior or executive, whatever. Or you can work for yourself, and the only limitation is yourself. Like, there's nobody holding you back but you. And if you're really trying to make your dreams happen, it's going to be some long nights. It's going to be some early days. It's going to be a lot of frustration. Mm-hmm. Probably going to be some tears. You're going to want to cut, kick, scream, quit, everything.
All that, yeah.
But from day one to, you know, year 5, when all of a sudden it just cracks and the sky opens up and it's just like you see yourself on the other side of that lake, on the other side of that 5 years, and you realize looking back like, oh, it was me the whole time.
Yeah. And that's real talk. You know, my wife always says, if you don't make plans for yourself, somebody else has you in that plan.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a real thing. Like, you know, if you don't make provisions for you, somebody got you, you know, as a part of their plan. Mm-hmm. You're going to feed in somebody's dream.
Oh, yeah.
It just won't be yours, you know.
Yes, indeed. I mean, that could be working at a company or ending up in jail, ending up at somebody's private prison, and you're doing time in a cell.
Yeah.
Giving up your energy. And there's like some little esoteric little things in there too when you look at like how like that's put down, like your energy is given in a cell like a battery. It's
amazing. I mean, you know, shout out to the Matrix, but you know, it's definitely like the crazy part is like people sit in rooms and think of this shit. Like, how to get that brother who, you know, ain't done nothing wrong his whole life, and at 14 they send him to jail for the rest of his life.
I mean, that's like the over criminalization of non-violent crimes. Like that's what that leads to. Because it's
see, you gotta realize that too, right? Like that's a trap that's been set for a real long time. Yeah. So it's not right, but it exists.
Yeah.
So you could sit and complain about it. That's what I'm talking about participating in the system or not. Mm-hmm. Like, if you know there's a hole in the floor, you could sit and look at the hole and point, oh, man, there's a hole in the floor.
Right.
Or you could move around it, step over it, do something different, not to step in the hole. Right. Like, even like drugs and shit, it's not my bag because I know what that is.
Yeah.
I've had enough experiences in my life to see the bad side of that.
Yeah.
Like that's documented, well proven. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you don't have to go far to see what the outcomes of all these things are.
Yeah.
Like you out here, you know, doing whatever.
Yeah.
You know, selling drugs, using drugs, whatever, robbing people. Like, you know, I've known mad folks that do a lot of crazy stuff. Yeah. But it's not sustainable.
No, at all. And it's crazy now that, you know, being in my early 30s, and the people that we used to see, like, you know, driving on the road and like in around town, and they're homeless or you know strung out or whatever, and I'm just like, my mom was like, oh yeah, there goes such and such, like blah blah blah. It's like, oh, he used to be a really good basketball player back in the day.
Damn.
And I'm just like wow, it's crazy. As a kid, I'm like, wow, it's crazy. But now I'm in the 30s and like, I'm seeing kids that I went to school with, and I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Most popular, best hair, like, oh, wow. Yeah. Like, but then you realize, like, you know, life happens. Life happens.
I mean,
people.
Folks out here really dying. Like, over 10 of my classmates have died since we graduated high school.
That's rough.
Like, straight up. It's crazy because you see people on different, everybody has different journeys, but like, you know, even small story, we were at home buying, like, we were decorating the Airbnb, so we were buying like furniture and stuff. And there was like literally maybe $10 worth of like little small stuff in the basket. And I was telling the cashier dude, which was a brother, young brother, and I was like, "Oh, did you get all the stuff?" He's like, No, you good? Like, yo, I got you. I said, "Nah, bring this shit up." And he's like, "Brother, I'm trying to hook you up." I said, "I'm trying to hook you up.
Right.
Don't lose your job over $10.
Yeah.
You just saw me buy $300 worth of shit.
Yeah.
Why would you risk that for $10?
$10. Yeah.
That's not worth it."
What's the return of investment?
Exactly. So you see, like you see folks give their whole futures away.
Yeah.
And the reward, right? The risk is
Yeah.
crazy.
Risk versus gain is like.
But the reward is like tiny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just not worth your future.
Yeah.
At all.
And I think a lot of it is just pride. I think some of it's engineered pride because, like, the music that we listen to, even if it's from people who look like us, sound like us, it isn't our. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not our culture in a sense. Like a lot, especially the way like music and entertainment are produced now. Like the people writing these scripts, the people assigning these roles don't look like you and I.
That's true.
Like these are and those images get pushed out around the world.
Yeah.
Those images are what people expect to see when they see people who look not even just like black folks, but like all the stereotypical stuff that people see back in the day. You remember the movie Short Circuit with Johnny Five?
Yes.
Remember that? That dude isn't Indian.
No,
he's not Indian. It's a white guy.
That's crazy because on the read they were talking about a CEO of maybe it was Disney or something pretending to be Asian.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy. Like people want to have a certain perception.
Yeah.
It's like when like Bad Baby and
Lil Tay,
and that shit's crazy to me. And like it's such a horrible coonery. Like it
really is,
but it exists.
Yeah.
And like there's people who really really support it, and like they got black folks around them. Ain't nobody like what I mean.
And it's like they're young and they don't know any better, and they just see symbols of wealth.
I think that's bullshit. They know better.
I mean,
they know much better.
They clearly know better, but like I think at some point it's just like they're out here wanting to be around symbols of wealth and success. So like, Lil Tay's out here, middle finger stacking cash on top of a G-Wagon.
That shit was so crazy. So I watched the Lil Tay thing, and she said, I was dead ass broke when I was 6.
Stop.
So I moved to Atlanta and started flipping bricks.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, really?
Oh, really?
What the fuck bricks?
What kind of pass? What, bricks? Legos?
Like,
Yeah,
what?
flipping Legos.
She was like, and I was flipping bricks, and now we living in the hills. And I was like, oh, okay. Like.
So, you international drug trafficking because you live in Canada.
Man, come on, bro. And she's Asian.
I know.
Lil Tay is like 100% Asian. Like she ain't
Asian-ish.
She ain't like
black and Asian. Like
that girl's Chinese.
Her dad wasn't stationed in Korea, nothing like that. Like she is.
No, like look at her mother. Her mother is like pure Chinese.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Hey man, that's some real shit.
Yeah.
But so I guess I don't know. Let's put some context. Do you want to talk about like backstory or which direction you want to go now?
I guess backstory, just to kind of like bring it all home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So born and raised Southside Houston, Texas. I don't know how to describe that. So,
what was it like then?
Southside
versus like, what was it like then versus now? Like from what you remember?
I mean, Southside was worse than it is now. It's way more tame now, but it's kind of going through gentrification. But it wasn't like 80s, right? Like it wasn't like crazy. I mean, there was more drugs for sure.
Right.
Like I remember I went to Yates High School, and before my first day, my dad was telling me about his first day at Yates, and like a lady cut her boyfriend's chest open with a butcher knife. On his first day. And that shit ain't happened on my first day. I think the most thing I saw was like dude selling dope, Like there was a really bad fight where this dude beat this other guy up with a baseball bat, like just beat him in the head with a baseball bat. But I mean, Yates is Yates.
Yeah.
So like, it just exists, and you just kind of you figure it out. And you know, mother was a teacher, father was a landscaper, as I said, and you know that was an interesting experience because they both have their vices. So, father still actively does crack for over 40 years, and my mom has alcohol as her vice. So.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, being in that at the time, you don't really pick it up until after the fact.
Right.
But what it did was it gave me a really sharp view of what not to do.
Right.
So I'm super not drinking,
right.
super not smoking.
Right.
Just because.
That's me buzzing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just because my experiences show me what that does.
Right.
Like what it's about. You know what I mean? I've seen the worst of people. So I have I used to equate it to every day when I walk out of the house, I step into another world. Because, you know, going to college and I remember when I graduated from high school, my mom was like, you're on your own. Like if you're going to college, you got to figure that out. And even in college, it took me 10 years to graduate college. But I worked all time. I worked the whole time. I had my daughter at 21, and I had 4 jobs when my daughter was born.
Wow.
So I worked my ass off. I literally, I would build homes from 5 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. From 2 in the afternoon to 6, I would go to school. And then from 6 to 2 in the morning, I would manage a hotel.
Right.
And then on the weekends, I would sell cameras for Sony, and I managed my own construction company. And I did that for years. But those experiences, everything I equate to landscaping when I was a kid. So nothing was harder than that. So anything else just doesn't stack up.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. 'Cause it's the same way. Because that's the thing even being in the military and literally being on a ship in the middle of the Caribbean, jumping off of it and jumping onto a submarine filled with cocaine with drug traffickers. It was nothing was harder than having to go to school and having to fight my own classmates because their parents taught them to disrespect people who look like me.
Yeah.
So every day waking up having to do that.
And it's a fight. Yeah.
Yeah. Versus oh, y'all don't look like me, but y'all call me y'all treat me and call me your brother. You know, so we shipmates. So I don't have to worry about what I'm gonna have to what the outcome is with y'all.
Yeah.
We already know who the guys are that we gonna go after. So we
know who the enemy is.
Exactly. This is a breeze.
Yeah. And I mean it's like that, corporate America, because you almost operate with blinders on. For almost 7 years, I managed a division of construction for the Trevino Group at MD Anderson, and I'd be sitting at a huge conference table, and I'd be the only black person, and you can't even really notice it. Right? You just can't operate in that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And it's up to you to determine how you want to go about these situations.
Right.
Because if you operate in the limit, you'll have that limit.
Yeah.
It's self-imposed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you choose to operate above that, that's, it's everything's on the table. It's up to you to pick your poison.
Right.
And pick how you want to proceed. So, came out of high school, went to college, and worked my ass off. And then literally was married with a kid, grinding out for several years. My ex-wife lived in another city and state with my daughter and was wilding because she fucking insane. And it was probably the most, I guess, emotionally damaging time. And I remember going to the doctor at 25, and the doctor literally said, if you keep up like this,
Right.
you're going to die.
Right.
Like, the stress from your life will kill you. And I decided to change my life. And I called my ex-wife, and I was like, look, my baby coming home. I don't know what you going to do,
Right.
but she coming home. And I started to systematically change my life just to get at zero, right?
Yeah.
Like, you operate in a negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just got to get to zero.
Yeah.
And I always worked really hard and worked really well. That was always kind of my refuge. So I had a great career, but personally, like, life was shit.
Yeah.
And changed my life. Finally got them back home. Thought everything was like together. I'm like, I finally got it. I'm picking up my baby from school every day. I'm like, whatever. And ex-wife starts wilding. Like, get a boyfriend, get a DUI, just go crazy. And like 2 days before our wedding anniversary, I caught her like cheating.
Wait, so you guys were still together?
Yeah, like, she came home when the baby came home.
Oh, wow.
And then came home and wild out.
Oh,
and then,
wow. Okay.
Like 6 months after I moved them home, caught her cheating, and just kind of, I mean, it was crazy. It was really, really crazy.
Damn, man.
And from that was probably the best thing that has ever happened to me.
It's weird how freeing and liberating that can be sometimes when you're in a situation like that, and then like that person.
Oh, because at the time, it was
still trying to make it work, and
because I finally thought I had it together.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I had it figured out.
Yeah.
I was like, and you date and marry people that reflect your self-esteem, and at the time my self-esteem was super, super low.
Yeah.
So it was like
you date your worth.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So basically I caught her cheating, tried to work it out. That shit really wasn't working because she never stopped cheating. And then I was trying to just hold together because I fundamentally didn't believe I could raise my daughter by myself.
By yourself, yeah.
And she had drummed that into my mind. So I got to the point where I was like, this gonna take me out too. So I gotta do something different. And I remember I took off of work on a Friday. I filed for divorce, and I moved all my shit. I'd been stacking all my shit in the garage in our apartment. And shouts to my best friend for helping me create that plan. So,
Oh man.
Packed all my shit, moved, put the divorce papers on the table, like, text her, like, I'm out. And got my own place eventually. Moved back home, which was its own set of problems.
I can imagine.
But eventually got my own place, and it was me and my daughter rocking out for a while. And then I met my soon-to-be wife, and here we are 4 years later with a whole different life. I mean, complete 180.
It's crazy how life can transform so quickly.
I'll tell you, it's amazing,
Yeah.
and it's truly a testament to what I consumed, because what you put in your spirit comes out, whatever, regardless of what that is, right? Like the biggest thing that I probably did to help me, in addition to my wife and all the amazing things that she's brought to my life, but I changed my self-talk.
Oh yeah,
Like, the
that's
things
so
in my mind, and
That's
I realized
so
that I couldn't keep listening to me.
Yeah.
Because I was wrong.
Yeah. Ugh.
So I started listening to books and started changing the things that I was consuming, and I changed my narrative. To change the narrative of my life.
And that's so important. I think that I like how much the consciousness of our society is starting to change, in the sense where, you're having men talk more about their mental issues and their emotional issues, and there's space for that to exist. And really the way that you talk to yourself and what your ego will morph into in order to survive.
Yeah.
Because, people find pride in a very messed up way. They can find pride in their trauma.
Yeah, I mean 1,000%. Like it was crazy because I asked my parents what they wanted to be when they grew up, and my dad wanted to be a comedian, and my mom wanted to be a writer, and they're so far from that,
Right.
And their journeys were just littered with bodies, along the way, and you realize that it's not. You going down the wrong path is not like one big ass choice. Like you ain't like, oh, wrong way, that way.
Yeah.
I want to go that way. It's a small series of compromises.
Yeah.
It's a small series of micro choices.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't tell yourself that you're not a bad person. You're just you choose the easier path.
Right.
Over and over again.
Right.
And it might, it's just easier than dealing.
Yeah.
And what I found works for me is whatever's hard,
Right.
go head first into it.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way I know to handle that fear. You still have the fear. Like even,
it doesn't
we
go
do now
away.
with real estate, it's still fucking scary.
Yeah. And I think people have this idea that once they get this level of success, the fear goes away. But it's literally new levels, new devils.
And the fear is always there. You just learn to trust in the end outcome, good or bad, right?
Yeah.
That you'll be okay.
Yeah.
And then also you learn that there has to be something bigger than yourself. Like in not even, and I don't want to get super religious or technical or whatever, but you have to have faith that you have a purpose and a reason.
Oh yeah.
And that is something that's greater than you. Since I was a very small boy, in my mind, I knew I was here for something much, much bigger.
Yeah.
And it's almost like blinding. Like I can't see the depths of it.
Right.
And I only get small pieces of it along the way, but I know it's huge.
Right.
And as long as I know I'm operating in that in a positive way,
Right.
it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I have faith in that.
Yeah. And like I the conversations I have with my friends often is just like, you only fail if you quit.
Yeah, I mean, what's the famous quote? It said the difference between winners and losers is losers walk away from the game, and winners play until they win.
Yeah.
Like,
and it only makes sense that through everything, like you are where you are now. And I like how you're saying like you can't see exactly what it is that's out there. It's just this blinding light, and that's the brilliance of that success. That's probably you. It's yourself. That blinding light is the person that you become. That you probably
it's the savior. It's your future self.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because the cold part about it is if you just get 1% better, right? Like this year, you just get 1% better.
Yeah.
And in 10 years, just the law of compounding, right? You have changed your life.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm probably not doing that quote justice, but
bringing it home, the point's coming home. Yeah.
if you make small incremental changes, like, we were talking about income streams, add one more income stream to your daily this year.
Exactly.
Just one.
Yeah.
Right. And then next year, add one more.
Right.
And then now you got 3.
Right.
You know what I mean? In 5 years, you'll have 6.
Yeah.
Because 5 years, adding 1 every year, plus the one you already had when you started, you got 6.
You just get used to it. It just becomes like that's your
It's
routine
just a
now.
thing. And it could be something small.
Right.
Right. It could be like, I don't know,
Like a car wash company or something.
whatever.
Like a mobile car wash
It could be
company.
the smallest thing. It could literally be like, hey, Halloween time, I buy all the candy and I sell it to all my neighbors so they don't have to go to the store.
Okay.
It could be like the tiniest thing.
Right.
But, and I'm probably oversimplifying it, and people always say, "Oh, it's not that easy," and whatever. I'm not trying to make it sound super easy. I'm saying you got to do fucking something because living is hard in itself.
Yeah.
Right. Like everything's hard. Going to work every day for your whole life and not having nothing to show for it is hard as hell.
Yeah.
Like, you lose your job and you lose your everything's hard.
It's hard.
So you gotta have something for you.
Yeah.
Because ain't nobody coming to give you nothing. There's no like, I remember me and my brother had a big argument. I was working for a big home builder at the time, and he was like, you think everything's so easy, you know, whatever. You got them white people over there doing your work. I said, how? Where they do that at? Like, what are you talking
It's
about?
like they think that you show up and all of a sudden all
Like
the stuff falls out the sky.
It's little elves coming to do my fucking work. I was
Yeah.
like, when I'm sleeping at my office, you ain't there.
Exactly.
Like when I'm literally walking around my shit in the
Yeah.
socks and I'm working till 6 a.m. or I'm sleeping at the hospital on
Yeah.
a construction project. You're not there. So what are you talking
Exactly.
about?
They don't see
People don't see the work.
They don't see the work. They just see the outcome. They just see like everything that you've earned and you've accrued over. You know, my cousin has his own automotive shop, and for probably plus 10 years, like he was working for another garage. But every month, like I could see him going on eBay and finding these parts, or going to, you know, Snap-on conventions and finding these parts. And it's like, all right, that's in my toolkit. That's in my toolkit. That's in my toolkit.
And see, consistency, you win.
Yeah.
So you end up with this big ass toolkit.
Yeah. So now he's like done with that job, has his own like multiple bay garage,
Yeah.
nice house, wife, kid, super fast, you know, little project car that he's always been working on. And people walk up to him and they're like, oh man, it must be nice. I'm like, bro, you don't understand when
no
it
fucking
was.
clue.
You didn't see the Mustang on fire, almost flipped upside down because of an electrical fire going down the raceway. Like you don't know that part of the story.
True.
But I mean, yeah, man, I think like you said, man, it's just consistency.
Yeah. And I mean, the cool thing about everything that I've been through is it's mad accessible, and it's a lot of people's stories, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people come from houses with, you know, attics. A lot of people come from, you know, no resources or having to bootstrap it and do it on their own.
Yeah.
And, you know, the big thing that I tell folks is I'm like one half a step
Yeah.
ahead, but it's the same fucking game.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the same game.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not even, it's such a level playing field that you could change your life in a generation.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's never happened in the history of man.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it's the best time to be alive right now, because you can change all the people you look at, all the people you look up to on social media or whatever. That's one generation.
Yeah.
You're not looking at generations of success. Like Will Smith ain't fucking Will Smith the fourth.
Exactly.
You know
Coming
what
from the House of Smith.
Exactly.
You know?
Like, you know, you know, Jay-Z ain't Jay-Z the third.
Exactly.
Like,
Even in the show, like Fresh Prince, like Uncle Phil went to school. He busted his butt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Aunt Viv went to school. She busted. They made their lives. Like he grew up not having anything.
Yeah, so he told the story on YouTube about how Fresh Prince came about, and he was like super mad broke because he had fucked off all his money and
Yeah.
then didn't pay his taxes.
Oh,
so the
man.
government took all his money, and he went out to LA completely broke, and he went to Quincy Jones' house. And there was this big party, and Quincy Jones was like, oh, we got this script. It was like an old-ass script. He's like, we want you to read it right now. And he was like, you got 10 minutes. And he's like, oh, I can't do this in 10 minutes. I need like 3 weeks or whatever. He's like, oh, okay. And they were like the head of the studios where everybody was there because it was just a random-ass party.
Right.
And he was like, Quincy Jones told him, he's like, yeah, okay, well, 3 weeks, that's fine. And what's going to happen is the head of the studio right there, in 3 weeks, he's going to be busy. And then you're going to try to reschedule, and then you're going to be busy again. So you could take 10 minutes and change your life, or you could wait and not have shit.
Yeah.
And he was like, fuck it, give me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it changed his life.
Yeah.
Like, literally changed his life. And he had a Grammy and all that shit and was
Yeah.
broke. These are small decisions.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't have to make that big choice right now. You don't have to go like, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow, right? You just got to do better today. You just got to read one book today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do one thing for you.
Yeah.
While you're doing all this stuff for all these other people.
Right.
Like, you feeding in the mad other shit all the time.
Right. Selling your time, selling your energy.
Like this moment right now, you're feeding into yourself.
Right.
Like you're adding content for something for you. Can't nobody take that away from you.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's power in that. Because it's a drop in the bucket on your side. If there's a glass here, right? and this is the world,
Right.
and this is your shit. Mm-hmm. You just dropping something in there for you.
Yeah.
Because they already got shit.
Yeah.
They gonna have, forever, they will have water in that cup.
Yeah.
Who's filling up your cup? Nobody. So the only person that can is you. And if you put a couple of drops, eventually you get a small pool, then you get a little bit, and then you got a full glass. It might take you a lifetime.
Right.
It might not be for you.
Right.
Maybe it's for your children if you go that slow.
Yeah.
But I tell you this, all the fucking lights are green. The world, the lights
Message.
are green. Like, yo, it ain't no more red lights. You can literally have whatever kind of life you want to have. Now, you know, can you be a unicorn? No. Right? And the reality of the situation is there's some things that can't be undone, right?
Right.
There's some people who don't have access to anything.
Right.
And maybe for them, how much water they can get in their glass is limited.
Right.
But for the majority of people,
Yeah.
for
Especially in
80% of the
especially in
folks,
America.
you got all green lights.
Right.
If not, you got enough fucking green lights to change your life for a generation so your children can have more.
Yeah.
Like, we stand up. My grandfather owned like 7 acres where the gallery is. Like where the gallery
Wow.
is. But he had to sell it because my grandmother went to jail. So like the family could have been mad wealthy.
Yeah.
But my grandmother was a scammer and went to jail, and he had to sell it. Like, the reason we don't have his house in Hallettsville, nobody did anything wrong. We just didn't have any fucking money. So when my aunt got sick, she sold the house because that's all she had.
Right.
Right? Like, I was like 10. I couldn't swoop in and buy
Right.
the shit. You know what I
Come
mean?
in with your just blank check, and it's like, all right, let me just go ahead and take care of this.
I mean,
Wasn't there.
you know, so you can't change the past, and it's not even about that. It's about you making one decision for the future. You know, last year, my goal was to read 65 books. So there's a big saying out there that says all millionaires or most millionaires read like 60 books a year. So I was like, fuck that, I'm going to do 65. So I ended up doing closer to 70. And when I tell you it's all in the fucking book, like literally you can change your everything by changing your mind. Because you don't know the experiences other people had,
Right.
the ways around it, like the tricks of life.
Right.
People, ain't nothing new.
Right.
People have figured this shit out.
Yeah.
But you got to read it.
Yeah.
You got to actually see it.
Yeah, and it's there. It's there for us to use as tools to make our lives easier.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's for, and it's amazing because you think about all the books and all the information that have been lost.
Yeah.
In time.
Yeah, throughout history. Yeah.
Like all the African history, all
yeah.
the like
we're trying to put together now, and yeah.
yeah, like all the shit that we just haven't. I mean, talk about technology. Talk about,
Yeah.
It could be like we probably have like 1% of
Yeah.
the information that at one time was available, and we're probably like 100% off from what's out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we just need you to change your life, small person in Mobile,
Yeah.
Alabama.
Hey, shout out to Mobile.
Like, you know what I mean? So you can though.
Yeah.
Because it's available and it's one decision.
Right.
The coolest thing about real estate is, like I was telling you about Grant Cardone, there's so many roads. You don't have to be on the same road as Grant Cardone. You don't have to be on the same road as me. You don't have to be on the same road as everybody.
Yeah.
Like we met a couple that has a duplex.
Right.
And they have a single family house they live in. And their goal was to pay down those mortgages and live off the Airbnb of those two properties.
Right.
And they would be financially like, they were going to move to Asia. The wife was Asian. The guy was like Spanish or something. And they were like, in Asia, we could live like kings. Like, yo, literally you're talking about $2,000 a month.
Right. Yeah.
And they could live like
the
fucking kings.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's their number. Their
Yeah.
number was 2.
Yeah.
My number's 65. Like their number was fucking 2. Grant Cardone's number is 10,000. Everybody got a different number.
Yeah.
Your number might be 1.
Right.
Like shit, if your bill's $1,000 a month and you could find something that could help you make $1,000 a month,
Right.
boom, you
Yeah.
you out the rat race.
Yeah, but you just gotta, whatever your route is out the matrix, you just gotta stay consistent with it. You know, whatever your passion is, your muse, whatever it is, you gotta find it, you gotta create it, you gotta stick with it. Like,
you gotta
make
find
it happen.
your one thing.
Yeah.
You gotta find the thing that actually moves you enough to care about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm super passionate about real estate.
Yeah.
But some people out there super passionate about basketball. Some people, and that doesn't mean you got to be fucking LeBron
Yeah,
James.
you don't have to
just
play
need
to
to
make
find
money
a
off of
way
it. Yeah.
to monetize it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's enough mics around to make it
Maybe
make
you
sense.
run a camp for kids, like
Exactly.
whatever. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? I mean, there's ways.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, man. Hey, thank you for giving me probably an hour plus now. I lost track because we've been talking, but I appreciate it.
Definitely, I enjoyed it. This was
a wealth
interesting.
of knowledge. It's just dropped on myself and the audience. So I just want to say thanks. Thanks again for agreeing to this.
Hopefully, it was helpful.
Yeah,
This is my
man.
first
Definitely.
time,
I'm gonna keep rewatching this, man. Once I upload it, I'm gonna keep rewatching it and taking more and more from it every time.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you some access to the Audible so you can see the real information.
Oh
That's the book,
man,
same
here
thing.
we go.
All right.
Thanks everybody.
I was bathing in, soaked in rose gold last night. Oh. I live life like it's the, living life like it's the afterlife.